MSD podcast, Combat Milling. In our European military CQC, combat milling is a very important part of toughness training, including mental toughness training in regard to close quarters contact. The contact level should be commensurate with the combatant's capabilities to reduce the risk of injury. In previous decades on military courses, milling with boxing gloves, as in Mad Minutes, was a means of identifying individual combatant strengths and weaknesses. While it's certainly done this, it also comes with risks in relation to injuries, as unlike competitive boxing and boxing sparring, there are no weight divisions in military Mad Minute milling, and all the gloves are not always in the same weight or condition. Serious injuries could be career-ending. When I started out as an Elite Forces CQC instructor, I introduced combatants to European military combat milling. Combat milling is completely different to boxing gloves type milling and makes the playing field a lot more even. It also, having commonality with our European military close quarters combat tradecraft skill sets, makes it same or similar, and as such enhances CQC skills executions and actions on capabilities. The way I conducted Elite Forces combat milling was to pair the combatants off and every 15 seconds blow the whistle and have them change partners for up to 30 minutes or more. No one ever dominated all encounters as a result of the combat milling, including dirty tricks brigade practices that are great equalizers, even if there is a considerable size and weight differential. It has always been my belief, and is in line with European military CQC tradecraft training, that skills should share the same or similar foundations and fundamentals. While in combating enemy fighting styles, there is a need for enemy party to be able to employ enemy fighting styles or codes techniques. But outside of this, CQC training should be predominantly primary battle-proven skills that will be used in actions on to neutralize enemy combatants. What you practice the most and is role and threat neutralization specific, you are best at and will increase your chances of victory over defeat. Combat milling also provides considerably more diversity than just boxing gloves type milling, as it includes boots, knees and elbows, headbutts, and dirty tricks brigade, hard fingers and thumbs skill sets, as well as stamp kicks and toe of boot spiking. Our combat milling master package includes combat milling specific to Phase 2 advanced clinching and ground combat, as well as defensive tactics, prisoner handling, controlling, containing, and restraining. The combat milling is also applicable to Phase 1 basic and Phase 2 advanced military self-defense, seizure prevention, and weapons disarming. It includes prevention of the weapon being drawn and disarming the enemy of their own weapon, as well as combat milling weapon seizure prevention, weapon retention, and weapons regention, a Todd Group CQC dictionary word for regaining control of the weapon. The combat milling Phase 3 specialist CQB includes wide-ranging unarmed combat milling, as well as deadly non-ballistic weapon and unarmed combat milling for military battlefield and black role employments. It also includes primary and backup weapons combat milling. Basic Phase 1 combat milling skills instruction at an enabling level must be controlled, and the speed and momentum and intensity only increase gradually in relation to the levels of competency and capability of the exponents. CQC neck protectors are an important part of combat milling to protect the throat, cervical spine, and spinal cord. Combat milling in full battle dress and body armor is an important part of the combatant's familiarization with advantages and disadvantages of battle dress and body armor in stand-up point-blank bodily contact range clinching and in ground combat. Inoculating combatants against the effects of close quarters contact by administering controlled doses of contact and providing them with the most proven effective means of reducing or eliminating contact enhances their combative confidence and capabilities. Utilizing CQC put-downs and rapid footing recovery enables combatants to develop responsive, expedient footing recovery, including clearing of the kill zone and footing recovery. While most think that combat milling is about putting the things on and head banging, CQC and CQB combat milling is a tradecraft training complete skill set in its own right for military unarmed combat and military self-defense and armed combat, including with non-ballistic and ballistic weapons at close quarters. Anyone with a good level of inner resolve and mental toughness can quickly achieve capability and confidence in combat milling, and with a practical, realist combatant mentality, enjoy combat milling and the capabilities it proves and provides under duress to overcome the effects of contact and threat neutralize. Combat milling under CQC testing is a part of toughness and sickness training, and it is an important part of identifying strengths and weaknesses and proving a candidate's capabilities under testing hard, heavy, and hostile close quarters contact. Combat milling degrees of physicality can be increased in physical demand by terrain, including gradient, or in waterways or swamps. Combat milling under crowd combat training or testing includes large numbers of combatants mingling in a training area and on command engaging the closest enemy pair or enemy pairs in combat milling. There are many variations of combat milling to enhance capability under wide-ranging threat situations and scenarios. This all begins with Phase 1 basic, entry-level and enabling training exponents being drilled in the fundamentals and foundations of CQC unarmed combat milling. I can remember a heavyweight boxing champion joining in the combat milling thinking this was all about boxing type combat milling until his training partner enemy per toe spiked him fair in the shin and followed up with a chin jab. That's not milling, he said, and his training partner replied, no, that's combat milling. Combat milling is a practice to enhance and hone military combatants' psychological conditioning and mental toughness, as well as their CQC durability, resilience, and true up their hardcover guard and enhance effective threat neutralization capabilities for the battlefield or urban operators' actions on. The Marquess of Queensberry or fair play has nothing to do with combat milling, as it does not have age or weight divisions, just like in close quarters actions on, and it does give a mentally tough combatant, regardless of physical size attributes, a best chance of defeating a formidable enemy at close quarters and actions on. The conducting of combat milling requires definite guidelines and to be overseen by an experienced MIL CQC instructor, well versed in how to conduct combative contact training to maximize close quarters safety while not reducing combative conditioning and close quarters contact inoculation.